Hi, good evening, Malaysia and followers from around the world. Gong Si Fa Chai to everyone. Welcome to the year of the ox, where we'll be galloping away into a bullish year. And we are pleased to have with us James Tan Cho Chia, the Executive Director of Iconic Worldwide, perhaps with us. James obtained his Bachelor of Engineering Honours from the University of Manchester and then completed his Master of Science with distinction from University College London. Currently, he's also the executive director of Iconic Medicare Sdn Bhd, which is leading the company into the new venture into manufacturing personal protective equipment. And that we will be pleased to hear from James on the new direction of the company, which is making headlines around Malaysia because that it has announced that it will be exporting 1 billion over gloves by the end of March next year to US, UK, and even China. So, James, welcome on board Kong Si Fa Chai. Please share with us on the new direction which the company is taking. We started off as a property development company in Penang and also the tourism sector, the hotel sector, but it's now going to an exciting venture, the glove making business. Share with us, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Sri Wong. Kong Si Fa Chai. Kong Si Fa Chai. Okay. Previously, Iconic was under property development, and before that was under tourism segment. We had owned a 4-star hotel in Penang. Then previously Iconic was under Sambumi Holdings Berhad. Then we took over in 2018. Then we injected our property business called Iconic Point into the company. Then now the company is profit making from property development. Then during the MCO on last year, March 1 year ago, March 18, 2020, the government has announced that there will be MCO for all business has to be stopped. That at that point of time, we was thinking, hey, what should we do in future? What can we do for our company? Then we decided to say, hey, why don't we venture into face mask manufacturing? Because we foresee that there will be a demand for face mask because a lot of shortage of supply from the worldwide market. All supply has to come from China. So we are thinking, hey, why don't we make it from Made in Malaysia symbol? Then we bought few machines from China. From there, we started our production on July 2020. Then a lot of, because we are in PPE business, so a lot of glove buyer came to us say, hey, do you do glove as well? So at that point of time, we decided to look into it. Then we say, this is not a bad business to be in because it's better than property, it's better than tourism segment as well. Then we decided to call for EGM and then we got approval from the board to venture into PPE business. So end of the year 2021 to 2022, our core business will be converted into manufacturing sector instead of property and tourism segment.
James, what does the company need to do? Because your background and experience is into property development, and that to take even to form this subsidiary, the what do you call it, the Iconic Medicare Sdn Bhd, what expertise do you need, and what requirements are needed to start off this new venture?
Okay, during the initial stage, it was handled by all our by Dr. Tan, my father, and then by me and my mother-in-law, my sister, and my other siblings as well. Then subsequently, we tried to set up a team for our manufacturing team. Because from hotel, we have a hotel team. From property development, we have a property development team. And then we are setting up a new team for manufacturing. So right now, we actually are hiring a lot of people coming in to manage the plant, upcoming plant, which will be starting production by July this year.
Okay. Yeah. James, for a newcomer, which has just entered the market, the company has set very high targets. Some will even say very ambitious target. You have what they call it, set a target that to own 5% of the world's market share in rubber glove, and that how does the company aim to achieve this very high target?
This target was set by our managing director, Dr. Tan himself, Dr. Tan. Okay. Because now actually our first plant will be supplying around 1% of the worldwide demand. around 1%, because we will be producing 3.3 billions of glove, so it's around 1%. Then we foresee that this is economy of scales business. In the long term, you have to be economy of scales to be profitable, because right now the margin is high. But then we are looking for a long-term business, and then a lot of customers came to us also. They are looking for a lot of volume. It's not like they are
Sure.
even one customer can take up our whole production lines. So we are looking at, right now we have 12 production lines. We will be targeting by 3 to 5 years, we will have 60 production lines.
I see.
We will be 5 times bigger than what we are doing right now.
James, how long does it take to install one production line? And roughly one production line, how many how many gloves can it produces?
For glove manufacturing, for face mask, it's quite simple, because you just buy the machine from China. Then for glove, it's all customized. Customized based on your factory layout, everything. One production line is 110 meter long.
Okay.
110 meter long. Stand here is around 6 to 7 story high.
Okay.
1.3 kilometer is like the chain line is 1.3 kilometer. And then one production line, we have 28,000 of hands. We call it formers hands, 28,000. So it's different from normal, because this is all customized based on our requirement. So this kind of machinery is all made locally by local suppliers.
I see. Okay. This production line, does it run 24 hours, or there is a kind of shift?
For glove manufacturing, it's 24 hours.
Okay.
Because all the chemical, all the latex or nitrile will be inside the tank, everything. We cannot afford to stop the machine. It has to be run 24 hours to be cost efficient.
I see. And these lines you mentioned are actually made in Malaysia?
Yes, all customized made in Malaysia.
Okay. I always have the impression that this production line, you need to buy it from overseas.
That's why you say, he was asking, saying, how long do we need to
install it?
Yes, we will need around 3 to 4 months.
Oh, okay.
So we are targeting to install by April. By June to July, we'll start test run our machine.
Okay. Okay, now, if you based on the current main players in Malaysia, the top players, the current waiting period when you make an order will usually take around even 9 months to 1 year. Okay, and that they actually turning away orders. They say, look, we can't cope. And that if you're an individual or a buyer which is not part of their regular buyers, you're not a country or you're not an agency, they will say that, no, sorry. So they have been actually turning away a lot of potential buyers, because there's a mad scramble all around the world for gloves and even masks. Okay, how does this benefit your company?
Okay. Actually it's a good thing for us as well, because before this pandemic, if let's say the marketing team has to go and do a lot of sales call, a lot of marketing for stuff. But right now, all the top tier, top 4, top 5, or the second tier glove company, their demand are full, not 9 months, 1 year down the road. They are full 1 year down the road. So it's like, let's say if you want to book from top 4 one, you have to say it's next year. You have to get it from next year. Then a lot of customer overflow, they came to the new player in the industry, and then some is a second tier. So everyone benefit from this, because we are attracting the worldwide attention to us.
Yes.
Like Malaysia is the top manufacturer in worldwide market. That's why everyone is coming to us. And so a lot of referrals are coming to say, hey, do you have glove? Do you have glove? So now, right now, actually, we have more than what we can produce, the order. That's why we are looking to expand bigger, 5 times more than our capacity. Yeah.
Why is Malaysia the main player? What does it has? What advantages does it has over other countries? And that what will be your? What are the main competitor? Okay, outside Malaysia.
Okay. In Malaysia, right? Because the main user of glove is the US and European countries. Why they cannot produce glove themselves is because of the 4 seasonal weather.
I see, weather. Okay.
Winter, autumn, summer, and spring. Then for glove production, we need a very hot temperature. We need around 60 to 70 degree. The working environment is 60 to 70 degree. We have a lot of ovens up to 100 plus degree.
Wow.
So in order for you to heat up the production line, you have to burn a lot of natural gas. And then one of the good things is Malaysia is we are rich in natural gas. Petronas has a lot of natural gas. And then if let's say we have winter, then you need to burn a lot of natural gas, and the cost will be higher, and then it's not so feasible for them to do it. Yeah.
So would I be correct to say that 60% of the world production comes from Malaysia?
It's based on statistic on year 2020, it's around 67%.
See. So the rest comes from where?
Some from Indonesia, China, Thailand, Vietnam. So it's more towards the Asian countries we are looking at. Yeah. That's why. And then in US and America, their labor cost is so very high. And then this is all add up. It's not quite feasible for them to do it themselves. They rather buy it. Yeah. But now actually they are exploring into manufacturing themselves.
You know that you talk of margin. Okay. You know, many years back, a lot of businessmen, they started this gloves business and mask business, and along the way, many of them give it up because they say that the profit margin was very low. But of course, those who stay back and continue to sustain their business, they have really grabbed the fortune now for the stamina. They have made billions of ringgit. But those who gave up, they said, "Oh my God, we should have kept it now." Okay, now it's a volume game. The profit margin is competitive. So what are the cost overhead that you need to look at to ensure that there's profit that's maintained?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Because before the pandemic, the profit margin is less than 20%. But right now we are seeing around 50-60% of profit margin from the top tier companies, because right now the machinery, because in this industry, Malaysia has been 30 to 40 years for glove making, and then all the technologies has been upgraded, because before we venture into this manufacturing line, we went to see a few glove production lines. We said, we are thinking, hey, why don't we take over someone else instead of building our own plant? Then we went to few companies, and we saw that the way of machinery is quite old. Some is maybe 10, 20 years, 30 years, and then it's not so efficient. People can produce 30,000 per hour. We are producing 9,000 per hour. So the machinery side, technology side, they are not so advanced, because all the top 4 companies, they have the capital to invest on technology. So the way of going forward is going for automation. It's not full automation, but then more towards automation, because we cannot rely on workforce, because we know there's a lot of social compliance issue, a lot of foreigners issue, and then human error and stuff. So we are trying to go for automation side, and then this technology has been there for a few years, because all the top tier Fataliga, they has been investing R&D. So we are actually tapping on their experience on the R&D to move into our plant. We are looking for automation plant, reduce of manpower, increase of efficiency, reduce of energy usage as well. Yeah.
Automation will be able to reduce, let's say, how many % of the workforce?
Previously, to produce 1 million of gloves, you need around 7 to 8 people from the statistic by Malaysian Rubber Association. Then right now, we can do up to less than 2 people per million of gloves. So it's like you don't need so much manpower, so all the overhead will be reduced, and then there will be lesser human error. There's a consistency of the product, because rejection is also a very important thing for glove, because once your whole line is rejected, your 20 to 30,000 or maybe few 100,000 of gloves won't be able to go out to the market. You have to dispose it. There's a pinhole or defect. Yeah.
I agree with you, because that right now it is so what I call it, so labor intensive, that our advantage is just the cost factor for human labor. But in a long run, it'd be very difficult for us to compete with other ASEAN countries, let's say Vietnam or Cambodia, who is able to supply, and then they can always run their own. They have the same kind of weather, and soon we will always lose out in terms of having to rely on foreign labor. And automation is the only way out if we wish to reduce the cost of labor and the supply of labor. Now, coming to that, what is the difference in terms of the manufacturing of glove and face mask?
Okay. It's totally different type of manufacturing. Actually, we have our Batuka one will have two production lines. One is on the front part and glove will be on the back part. Face mask is a very clean environment. We have a clean room environment where everything will be under a controlled environment. Just face mask we are wearing on our face, so it's very important for us to have a very hygiene things. But then for hand glove, the working environment is like 60 to 70 degrees. You are working in a sauna.
Oh.
So you manage to go in next time when our factory is production, I can invite you to come in.
I must go there and then having my weight reduced.
So it's like totally different. It's a hot and humid environment compared to face mask production. Yeah, so actually we are having two different production operation team for two different products. Yeah, although it's under PPE medical product, but then it's totally different working environment.
So which is why that most Malaysian workers would not be able to work in these factories because they cannot tahan the heat.
Yes. So that's why you see all the companies are relying on foreign workers.
Okay.
We foresee this problem, then we wanted to try for going for automation. Most we are shifting towards automation part. Yeah.
Okay. So do they install this huge fan inside there to cool off these workers? How do you all do it?
Right now, we are for the production side. It's actually when it runs, it's just a supervisor have to oversee all the production. But then our packing side, just the end part will be under the packing side. The packing side will be under the top floor. From the machinery will start from the first floor, and then we will move to the top floor. Then from there, it will be under auto shipping, auto stacking, auto boxing, and then just the worker just has to take the box, put into the carton. It's all done by machine.
Sure.
Just we just did two workers there, just put in the carton, seal it up. Then in the boxing room we have aircon, because right now a lot of US company they are focusing on social compliance. Before that, no people was looking into social compliance because this was not an industry people focusing on. Then so right now we have to focus on social compliance. So all the packaging room will be under air condition.
You know, James, I want to ask you this question of stock prices of these PPE companies. You know, sometimes when I read these analyst reports, sometimes they also cannot, what they call it, are not consistent. Sometimes they say that, because a vaccine will have to be found, and by the end of next year, most people will be vaccinated, and that there will be less reliance on the gloves and less reliance on masks. But you can see that from the trend of the stock prices, the institutions and retailers never agree with all these analysts. They write all these reports to say that, there's this fear, that demand will drop, but the prices just continue to go up. And that some even say that, look, some of these prices are actually not fairly reflected, but it has gone up. Now, what is your view of these reports, that says that people will use less gloves, less masks, and then you don't need this huge volume of order?
Yeah. Okay. Right now, before this pandemic, people won't usually wear gloves unless you are in the medical industry. But as we can see, for face masks, for hand gloves, now everyone is wearing, even in the service industry, in F&B, in massage center, and everywhere. Even now, like MCO, announced by yesterday, when you go and buy clothes, you have to wear hand gloves as well. Yeah. So right now, it's a new norm to the worldwide market. Before that, the third world country, the advanced country, they didn't go and foresee that, hey, I need to wear gloves for hygiene purpose. But right now, we are creating a new norm to the worldwide market. It's like, let's say, last time before the pandemic, we go out and let's say you wear a face mask and go out, people will try to avoid you, say, hey, you come out from hospital, I don't want to go near you. But then right now, if you, let's say you didn't wear face mask, people will try to avoid you. It's like totally opposite norm. It's a totally opposite culture for the worldwide market. It's not only in Malaysia, it's worldwide. Even before that, US they couldn't accept wearing face masks. We are talking about human rights. But right now, you see on the news, everyone are wearing face masks.
Yeah.
So you are changing the mindset of the worldwide population. Then this will be, in the long term, there will be demand, because we also hope that the vaccine can cure this pandemic, and then stop all this pandemic, and then we have back to our normal life. But then moving forward, everyone will be more hygiene concerned, because we already foresee that in future, let's say, to avoid another pandemic outbreak, we have to take care of our hygienic issue. All the countries in the worldwide market, they couldn't afford another pandemic outbreak. So everyone will be encouraging PPE on face masks, like in Japan or Korea or Taiwan. Everyone are wearing face masks when they're having flu. But in Malaysia, nobody cares last time. But now, actually, there were reports saying, hey, flu cases is dropping because of people are wearing face masks or on social compliance stuff. So actually, it's a good thing to move forward because of this PPE. We can foresee that flu will be lower in future, and then after this pandemic outbreak. Yeah. So there will be demand over there as well in the long term.
I agree. Yeah, I agree that because it will no longer just be you have to wear a mask or wear a gloves because of the because of the COVID-19. I think it's going to be a matter of being health conscious and being hygienic. I think for those of us in Asia, we have actually had the advantage of especially if you're living in Korea, Hong Kong, or China and Japan, people actually have been wearing masks for some years back already. One was because they went through SARS, so they came up being very conscious of being clean. And of course, if you live in Beijing, the fog problem is very foggy, and then it's the smell in the air is bad quality, so they wear masks. Over this MCO, I was watching this program in Netflix. This Joanna Lumley, she went to I think it was Japan, yeah. And then she was saying this program would probably have been made maybe 3 years ago, okay? So she was saying, why is everyone wearing a mask, okay? Are they afraid to show their identity or what? I mean, this was this English woman 3 years back, and she's wondering why are people wearing masks. But in the mind of Asians, they already know that, look, we need to protect ourselves. I read interesting report today, in the Star today, which says that in Korea, two person, they were sitting two in a table, okay? And because they were, I think it was probably a coffee shop. So these two gentlemen, they are sitting opposite each other, and they were working on their laptop. They were not wearing masks, but they passed the COVID-19 to each other without realizing it. And when investigation shows that these two were sitting next to each other, but the waiters in that coffee shop, because they were wearing masks, they were spared from this disease. So I think that Asian, as far as Asians are concerned, I think they will stick to masks, and that in terms of food preparation is also different. I stay in PJ. A week ago, I went to a nearby coffee shop to buy this economy rice, our famous top fun. Okay, so in most economic rice shop, you take the food and you choose what you want, right? And then you put it on a plate and you take the cashier and say, how much is it? But this time, this shop says that you better wear a glove. If you don't have a glove, I give it to you now. You must wear a glove to pick the food that you want. So initially, I was a bit like, so mafan. No? But then I realized that actually this is really good. It's really a good practice. And you are heading to a situation where people will buy gloves, wear gloves. And as you said that, I experienced it where masseur now massage you with gloves. So it is here to stay. And you never know. We live in a time where things are so unpredictable. We have go through SARS, and then that nobody thought that there'd be COVID-19. We do not know what would happen next, right? What kind of disease will come next. So I think that it is here to stay, and that for the Westerners who may not be familiar with this type of thing, they are starting to get used to it. Initially, there were a lot of protests. They are still protesting, but I think the majority of them are starting to use gloves and masks. I think that's a good thing. But I hope that one day that your company, Iconic Worldwide, will be able to produce some kind of mask which can actually be soft material and it's transparent. I can see you can see me, I can see you without concealing. This James, for Chinese New Year, I'll be wearing this one.
Oh, okay.
made by your company. I
Yeah.
love this, James, because that it is so beautiful. You know, like Chinese New Year, we all, especially those from Penang, we all very pantang one, you know, must be red, 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 red. So I thought that the packaging was really good.
Yeah.
So when I got this, I put it around, you know, that soon everybody was grabbing it already.
Because right now, actually, we foresee that, hey, why don't we create something interesting to the market instead of doing having the dull blue color mask? So we foresee that this is a long-term run, and you make it enjoyable for people instead of making it just for compliance issue. We are trying to make it enjoyable for people. People actually chasing after our products. For just every season, we have to launch a new product. We have even down the road, we have Raya product, Father's Day product. Yeah.
I was told that you even have a Valentine's Day product.
Yes.
Well done, well done.
Yeah. Okay.
You know that we talk about being conscious and everything that what do you call it that what are the plans in terms of now your what do you call it, your face mask factory is on lease land, right? Is it going to a permanent place?
Yes, actually, we are moving to Batu Kawan by end of the year.
Yeah.
It's on the same factory as a production line. It will be on the front part. We'll be having 10 production line. Right now, actually, we also having 10 production line already. So it's relocating our existing facility to the Batu Kawan facility, so we can centralize our team and then minimize on the workforce, because all the is that double work. Let's say we have too many factories around. So we are combining both manufacturing into one. Yeah.
James, back to the question of human resources. I read it that one of the reasons why your company decided to move into this glove and face mask business was also because that many of the staff in the hotel and tourism sector were being affected because that their livelihood was being threatened. I think that something like 30%, right, of this staff. And that one of the reasons to accommodate them to save their jobs was to start this business. Can you share with us this decision to help this staff?
Yeah. During the, I said just now, March 18, 2020, the government suddenly announced MCO. Then everyone got no direction. The most impacted sector is under tourism segment, because there's no tourists, there's no people cannot move around. So at that point of time, our hotel has to be closed down for two months, from March to April. Then we was thinking, hey, we have 100 plus workforce inside the hotel. What should we do with them? We couldn't ask them for unpaid leave. It's like we either have to take unpaid leave or we have to do something else. Then we did a discussion. Then we say, because at that point of time we did a lot of charity for the face mask for the frontliner. Then we foresee, hey, how come is it so hard to source face mask? We need to get it from China. Then we say, hey, why don't we try to do it ourselves? Then and then it's a win-win situation that we can transfer 30% of our employees from hotel. They got something to do, or else we have to be there sitting there, take unpaid leave, or some companies, they even close down retrenchment and stuff. Then we say, hey, we have to move forward from this. That's why we foresee that, hey, why don't, because there's a mechanical team in our industry, there's F&B team. Then we give them training and stuff. Then we convert them to manufacturing industry, and then they are there up to now. So, and then subsequently MCO 2.0, we also transfer some of our stuff to our manufacturing facility to help on our face mask as well. So these kind of things is a win-win situation. They got work to do, they got salary to take, and then the company got got revenue to come in. Yeah, that was our plan.
James, I'm just curious, okay? The turnaround time that you all decide to go into this business, carry out a feasibility study, and then discuss about how much to invest, and then get the shareholders' response. I think you have to hold a EGM, right? Because it's not a core business. Between all this process, how long did it take before you all said, okay, we have got approval already? What was the duration to get everything done?
We started to have a meeting saying we wanted to do face mask on June. But then at that point of time, face mask was not a core business, so we don't need.
That means MCO in March. This was June, 2 months after MCO.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. End of May, starting at beginning of June. Then because face mask was not under the capital investment is not a lot, then it was not under requirement for shareholder approval. Then so we just go ahead for face mask. Then after that, after we started face mask, what I mentioned just now, we say a lot of demand for glove. Then on around end of August, we decided to venture into glove manufacturing. Then we started to look for land, starting from zero. We still have experience and everything. So we started to look for land. So at that point of time, we went to PDC, Penang Development Corporation, and they had one piece of land very suitable for us. It's around 5.5 acres. Then we go say, okay, we went for that's PDC. You need a tender process. We went through the tendering process. So and then around September we finalized everything, and then October they said, okay, you can have the land. Then we started to call for EGM and on November. So from there, right now, actually, we have started our construction for the factory. We will be complete by June for the factory. Then the machine will start install by 2 months down the road. Actually, the roofing, everything is done for the factory right now.
Okay.
So all in all, we took around 3 months to.
Wow.
3 to 4 months.
James, you know that on the subject of face mask, it's here to stay. But I think there's a need for manufacturers to put it as part of their CSR to carry out programs to educate the Malaysians on how they should dispose their use, what do you call it, face mask. You know that there's been a lot of reports of birds, monkeys getting their legs and hands stuck with this face mask. People simply just throw away. And then there are people, maybe because they cannot afford it, or maybe it's just ignorant, or maybe they're just plain stingy or kamsiap, okay? They actually continue using their face mask for days and weeks, okay? Not realizing that actually it should be there only for a day, okay? If they're using disposable one, why do you think that Malaysians are, not all, but a large group of Malaysians are still not used to this idea? They just throw it around.
Yeah. For face mask, actually the usage of time is around 4 hours for one piece of reuse. Disposable face mask is around 4 hours.
4 hours.
But then, as we know, Malaysian is that you're using for 4 days. Some even put in the house, they go and steam it as well.
Oh my God!
Yeah, this is the mindset and culture of Malaysians. So slowly we have to educate them. This has to be done through the government channel, WHO, and World Organization Health, to guide them on how to change from this mindset to proper mindset. Because right now the cost of face mask has been dropping. Because previously we are talking about $2 per piece. People say, hey, it's so expensive, I don't want to spend on it. But right now it's quite not so expensive, around 50 to 60 cents. You can get it around 50 to 60 cents. It's like not so expensive as so people are more willing to change it constantly. So I hope in the future people will be more environmental concerned, because some people just dispose off on the ground instead of properly dispose off in a bin. By right, you have a proper procedure to seal off your glove, your mask, and then dispose it.
And even those better off restaurants, they actually put a plastic bag for you to insert your mask there while you are doing eating. Slowly, we hope that we'll get back to it, and I hope that those companies who are following this program, you are making billions of ringgit, please to carry out a CSR program on this to educate the school kids and housewives. Okay. Okay, now this next question is actually about the beginning of our company, because I find it really fascinating. Coming as a Penangang, okay, watching your company grow, property development, and then move on to other, and so quick and so fast to adapt to changes. I'm really interested about your dad. Okay, one of course his name is Lucky. I think he's been really lucky. First question is, why is he called Lucky? Okay, and that he started in the according to records, he was doing aquaculturist for 20 years. That's really a long time. 20 years is a long time. So his livelihood was actually doing this aquaculturist. And that when we say aquaculturist, which sector is it? And obviously from all his hard work, he must have gone on to pay the family and send it off to London to study. Okay. Tell me more about his previous business.
For your first question, actually he's a very he's thinking a happy-go-lucky guy.
Okay.
I think 10 plus years ago he was thinking, hey, I need a nickname for myself. I mean a name for myself. Because then he said, why you don't like to name myself as a lucky? Because since I'm a lucky guy. Okay. Then after that, because in 1991 he started his aquaculture business. He's on prawn, tiger prawn.
Oh, tiger prawn.
Tiger prawn. He rented around 100 acres of land from Pedah, Malaysian in Balai Pulau. And then he started this business with his sibling. Then after that, subsequently he started. Then after that he moved to fish breeding.
Okay.
To export to China, to export to Hong Kong and Indonesia as well. Then
where is this fish breeding business in where?
Pulau Jelajap.
Oh, Pulau Jelajap. Okay, all right.
Yeah, Pulau Jelajap is on top of the sea. And then at that point of time, he earned some money. Then he started to buy some land in our hometown in Simpang Empat, then in Penang as well. So he started to collect some land. Then 10 plus years ago, he was thinking, hey, what should I do with the land? Since I have so much land bank with me. Then he said, James, why don't we try to go into property development? Then he started property development. At that point of time, I was still studying civil engineering. And then he started property development with my sister and my brother-in-law. Then from there, 10 years after, now yeah. So from the land bank, he was thinking, wait, how should I, either I sell it or I have to do something with it. Yeah.
I think that I've met many of such businessmen. They call it old money businessmen. Okay, with names like Tan Sri Said Mokhtar, and then even Tan Sri, the late Nazamuddin of Nazam Auto. I think a lot of them acquire this land, at very strategic place, and then that they just kept it. And as their land bank grew, they have the family and everybody else have actually benefited from this farsightedness. As they say that what they call it, we can make face masks, we can make glass. We cannot make land unless you do reclamation. And the reclamation costs a bomb, right? And they add a lot of cost. So land cannot grow on trees. So especially in Penang, where the land is so scarce, right? So those people who invested in land will see the benefits, especially on the mainland in the province Parasli, Seberang Perai. I mean, at some point, people did not want to acquire land there. They only want to acquire land on the island, okay? But there's only so much land you can do on the island. And as you and I know that there are a lot of what they call it areas in Penang Island which are actually very hilly, and it's not possible to actually even construct anything there. Okay, so mainland is always the place to expand, and expand across to Kulim and so forth already. So things have changed dramatically. I must really meet your dad one day to find out what is the secret to be lucky and to invest correctly.
He is always telling me that you have to do everything yourself. You have to he's talking about. Yeah. Okay. So this is his style. Is like he's saying everything you have to on hand. You have to be on hand.
Hands on. So he comes from the University of Hard Knocks, as they say, right? And okay, all right. One final question. Before we run off and spend our Chinese New Year celebrations. Okay. Okay. Now, where do because of the amount of resources and time that we now concentrated on making gloves, okay, which is really going turning out to be a core business, okay, would the property development sector and the tourism hotel business will continue to function and be part of this company, and in terms of contribution, okay, to the company, what percentage would it be compared to the mass sector in terms of percentage to the company?
Okay. Our property business has been there for, for our own family group has been there for 10 plus years. So this business, we won't be, because we have our team established. We have our property development team. We have our hotel operation team. So all this will be under sector. We won't be how to say, we were still focusing on it, but then it will be under a different team. Then our management will be trying to move into manufacturing by hiring a new team. So all three business will be ongoing as well. You won't say I don't want to do property anymore. It will be there for long term. It's as a backup. But in the long run, manufacturing will contribute more than 50% of our overall revenue, followed by property development, and then on hotel tourism. As we know, there's no traveling around. For 1 year down the road, then it will be slower for hotel industry, but then it'll still be there.
The hotel assets, are they still there or have they been disposed?
Okay, hotel asset, right? For public listed company point of view, for according to what point of view, is only a hotel management.
I see. Okay.
The hotel is privately owned by our own company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is still there. The iconic runs a thing, but now it's a private entity of the family.
Yes.
So which means that I can still go to Penang and stay at the hotel.
Yes. Actually, we are open right now.
Okay. You know that I make this. I don't have a property in Penang. Okay. So I need go back. I have to stay in a hotel when I'm there. So anyway, James, thank you so much for spending time with us. I know that this is a busy time, but I really appreciate you sharing this very interesting business, and that I hope that it will go on much bigger as a Penang company and as a Malaysian brand. We're certainly very proud of what the iconic worldwide is doing. Wish you all the best, and Kong Si Fa Chai to you and your father and family. Kong Si Fa Chai, thank you so much and good night.
Okay, thank you.